Hi.
Hi, Smriti.
Hi. Okay, so there's Akhilesh and Abhishek also. Hi Akhilesh and hi Abhishek as well.
Yes, yes. So, so Smriti, this is our team. Akhilesh and Abhishek,
Okay.
they are co-founders and founders as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
today we are just going to have a 15-20 minutes just brief introduction on how
Mm-hmm.
to help freshers crack jobs. And basically not a job, it's an interview. Okay. So with your
Mm-hmm.
experience, you can share basic wisdoms and get some insider tips on how to prepare and create a good mindset while attending the interview. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is a basic agenda for today.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
So, okay.
So let
So
me know
let's
once you
just
start
I'll just make a
recording
brief
or
introduction. So
okay.
okay. Okay. Actually, we are live on YouTube right now.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll just make a brief introduction about this podcast so everyone who is joining live so they can know it. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Job Seekers Job Talks with HR. I am your host Sundaram Iyer, and today on this channel we invite HRs, recruiters, talent management professionals to share their valuable insights on how to prepare for job and help you crack it. If you're one of them, make sure you're getting subscribed and don't miss out on the new episodes. With that being said, we are our today's guest, Smriti Jain. Smriti, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
So, hi everyone. My name is Smriti. So, I have extensive experience into human resources. I've been part of big four organizations. I have been on both sides of the table, interviews also. I have been on the both sides of the table. I have been into interviews also, and I have given interview at some point in my life as well. So that's about it from my side. I hope we'll have an interesting conversation today.
Yeah, definitely, Smriti. So, just getting into the theme of this podcast. Can you just tell us what your company is all about and what is the mission of your company, so we can get a gist about it?
Okay. So I've worked for multiple organizations, but right now I'm working with KPMG India. So this organization is one of the big four organizations. They provide various services, but they are majorly into consulting services for B2B clients. So that's what we do. We provide consulting in terms of marketing, HR, finance, administration. So there are multiple fields, but majorly it's a consulting organization and it has a good hold across the world. So there are more than 130 offices across the world, and we have a huge employee count as well.
That's a
And I
nice
do
thing. That's a
workforce
wonderful
planning
thing to
work.
hear.
I think I was lucky to be a part of such an
Oh,
organization
oh,
during
I
the
see.
COVID time as well.
So, oh, you recently joined that organization.
No, no, I've been here for more than 3 years now. So I worked for other organizations, but in KPMG, I've been for more than 3 years. I'm saying that I am lucky enough to have my COVID time in an organization like KPMG because these are big organizations and they have very strong roots. So things like COVID don't really put the company in a very bad situation, though everybody was suffering, all the organizations suffered for sure, but there was never a time where the organization had to go for layoff like it happened for a lot of organizations during COVID. So we never faced any pay cuts or any kind of layoffs in the organization. That's how strong it is. So I think, I've worked hard for this position and I'm lucky to be a part of such an organization for this much period of time. And I'm happy to kind of continue here in near future as well.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign for KPMG and you as well. So,
Absolutely.
so getting into the interview part or the podcast part, what do you think is the hardest part about recruiting?
The hardest part about recruiting is that it's a very pressure cooker kind of job, for a recruiter. So it's also like, I would say, it kind of sales also. So you're selling jobs to people, and you are selling right candidate to the employer as well. The hardest thing about recruitment is matchmaking of the employer and the candidate and people, meeting people, and there is so much pressure to meet deliverables. And recruiting overall is very dynamic. I mean, there are so many things that can happen. You can have people drop out of the offer during the last minutes. You can have people reject your offer and join some other organization. You can have some internal problems go through the organization. You can have some people get rejected in the last stage uh, of background checks or something like that. So there are a lot of things that can happen. It's a very dynamic process. So I think that's the hardest thing about recruitment.
So, what is there any common misunderstanding that happens during an interview, or what do you come across as a common misunderstanding from candidates as a part of interview?
I would not say misunderstanding, but there are certain myths about the interview process, and I would like to highlight two majorly. The first one is that candidates, they tend to share impressions and spread rumors about the interview process. And one of them is being that the organization or the employer is looking for the perfect candidate.
Mhm.
Undoubtedly, the answer to this thing is no. Recruiters and employers are looking for a reasonably competent candidate with right mindset, and that is all. They're not looking for a perfect candidate, because I don't think a perfect candidate exists anywhere. Right? So that's not the case. They are looking for somebody who is reasonably competent. So that's important thing to note.
Okay.
And the
So
second
if
one that I would like to highlight, yeah, sorry.
yeah, you go.
So I think the second one would be that candidates feel like that they need to know everything during the interview. They need to know answer to every question, and only then they will be selected for the interview. I think that's a myth. Obviously, if you don't know answer to majority of the questions, it will lead to a rejection. But if you don't know answer for a particular question, just don't try to attempt it. A lot of candidates, from what I have seen in my experience, try to do is they try to make up with an answer for it. uh, and a lot of time it doesn't make sense, because you are just making up an answer on the spot. And then the interviewer will ask you some cross questions, because that comes out very evidently that you don't know the answer, but you are just making it up. And then they make cross questions, and then you'll get stuck in your own loop, and that
Yeah,
will lead
yeah,
to rejection.
you get stuck upon your own answers which you don't know, but you have just created it. Yeah, I get that.
Right, right, exactly. And then, that keeps on happening. They'll cross question you, and then you'll say something else, and it will go downhill from there. So if you don't know answer to a particular question, I think you can just say that I don't know answer to this, or I don't understand this particular terminology, or I've not had an experience for such a situation. I think that is okay if you do not have answers to all the questions, and it is okay to be honest in those situations. So I think those are the two misunderstandings or myths that people have. One is, that people are looking for perfect candidate, and the other one is that you have to have all the answers during the interview.
See, see, a lot of time I get a question that Sundar, I am willing to learn, but the company which I am trying to get in has a requirement of very large set of the technical skills. So if guy or a girl is unable to qualify from a technical perspective, so what are the other part of skills that you see if he's not technically sound or she is not technically sound?
Okay, so I think every organization is looking for two things in a particular candidate. One is your soft skills, and the other one is technical skills. So if you think that you are not qualified enough on the technical skills part, you can work on your soft skills at least, and that is something that you can do on your own. So when I say soft skills, these include your communication skills, your presentable attitude, your willingness to learn, to think out of the box. So these
Yeah,
are the things that are, soft skills. So if you can work on your soft skills, I think it will be easy for you to pass on the interview, specifically in the case of freshers. So you see, when you are a fresher, the employer knows that you do not have the experience, right? You are a fresher, you do not have experience. You may have done an internship or so previously, but you don't really have a lot of hands-on experience. What you probably have is, bookish knowledge, just the technical jargons and terminologies, definitions that you have read in your course curriculum. That's all
yeah,
you have. So what they expect from you in such cases is to have soft skills, strong soft skills, willingness to learn, your attitude to fit into the organization, the ability to think out of the box, to be excited about work, to have a positive attitude and mindset, to have good communication skills. And when I say good communication skills, it's not just about pronunciation or speaking fluently, it is also about putting your thoughts into words perfectly. So a lot of people are not able to articulate their thoughts. So even if you are not very fluent in a particular language, if you can articulate your thoughts perfectly, I think that also matters a lot and puts up a good impression during the interview. So I think if you're not sound with technical skills, work on your soft skills. And this is something that you can do absolutely yourself, and you don't need somebody to teach you these things. You can just work on these things yourself.
just Smriti, just a side note on this. Do you have any particular resources or any site which you go through, or a book that you can refer for the people who are listening, or any friend or anyone who wants to improve their soft skills?
Okay, so I think the first thing is to understand that what do you lack in terms of soft skills. See, if you lack in terms of spoken English, because English is now required in most of the organizations, apart from, I think, government organizations, they do not have a strict English requirement, but all the private organizations require people to speak English fluently, specifically the multinational organizations,
Right.
because that's how everything is. So if you feel like that your spoken English is not good, try to practice it with people around you. Also, as Indians, we have a habit of thinking the thought in our mother tongue, or the whatever language we are fluent with, whether it is regional language or Hindi or any other regional language, and then we convert that thought in English and then we speak. So in that process, it takes a lot of time. So try to think your thoughts in English as well. That ways your spoken English will also improve. So
Okay.
that's there. Try to read English books, any book that you like, whether it doesn't need to be academic book. It can be a story book, it can be a novel, it can be a self-help book. Try to watch some English shows, because the dialogues that they speak, you'll learn some new words and you'll learn how they articulate things. Or you can just practice talking to yourself by thinking the thoughts. Try to think those thoughts in English and then speak, because when we think those thoughts in a regional language and then we speak, it takes time to articulate, and that's where the problem happens. Or you can try and speak in English with with people around you. Secondly, I would say try to be updated about your industry. Having knowledge is very important, knowledge in terms of what is going around in the world. Try to network with people, because you'll learn a lot of things. It will broaden your horizon of things. So that again, when you meet different kind of people, it will broaden your horizon, it will broaden and open up your mind, and that ways you will become a more confident person. So you can work on your confidence by meeting more people. If you feel like you are somebody who is afraid of giving interviews, or you're not very social and you're not very confident during the interviews, so there are no particular sites as such that I probably follow for these things, but it's about first identifying where do you lack in terms of soft skills, and then working on those eventually. You know, That's it. I mean, there is no particular tool for that, but this is how you can do it.
Insightful. Thanks for that. Uh, a common thing which I came across 2 3 days ago was one of my
Mm-hmm.
friends wanted to change his working profile. He was into a different domain, and he
Okay.
said, "Man, I want to change my profile from this domain to the next domain." Say, for example, he was in support, and he wanted to get into technical background. Okay, so if he has a bit of skills in that, but he's not completely sure on what he can do to get in. So if he lands an interview, how do you approach that kind of candidate who is trying to change his
Mm-hmm.
profile or go into a different industry as well?
Okay. So if you are somebody who is looking to change your profile into something else, so first of all, I would suggest to strengthen a bit of your knowledge in that sector. For example, like you said that your friend wanted to move into technical sector from a non-technical sector, right? So in this case, what you can do is that maybe that person can do a certification, read about that particular industry or that skill, what is going on about that. I think LinkedIn is a very good platform to see and understand. And most of the people who are part of one particular technical skill usually have certain communities also. So the person can try and look for these communities, read threads, and understand what are the latest trends that are going on in this industry for this particular skill. What is it that people are looking for? And then try to build on that. For example, if I know that I am a coder and I understand that there is a particular language that is very popular these days, and in that language these are the subcategories that are going on around and people are looking for, or there is a conversation around it. Try to educate yourself in those sectors. Then the second thing that you can do is give your services for free to people. For example, you can do internships in that particular sector, or maybe you can ask somebody who is already doing that if you can assist or shadow that person for some time to understand the practicalities of that particular skill. Or another point is that the gig economy is very very open these days, so you can go and list yourself on Upwork or Fiverr and do a small project on that skill. So with that, you will have some technical knowledge as well as some hands-on experience. So once you do that, I'm sure when you go to an interview and you tell the interviewer that I come from this background, but I want to move into this, and this is what I have done. It strengthens your profile and gives you a better chance of selection in that case.
Mhm. Okay, so first do a certification. Just to sum up, the
Mhm.
first do a
Right.
certification, gets hands-on experience, and shadow the person who has already done what you want to do, and then try to
Right.
get a job. Am I right on that?
Correct, correct. So one is to educate yourself on this particular skill. I mean, I'm sure if you're moving to a technical skill, you'll have to learn that skill, right? Whether it is via certification or you just learn it by, doing it with somebody else. So after that, try to do that thing for free. So if let's say you are somebody who has learned no code platform, or you have learned a particular coding language, just try and build something, create a portfolio online, and when you apply, give that portfolio link to that person, that see sample of my work. This is just an example that I'm taking. You show them a portfolio sample of your work, and when they see what you can do, I think it will easier to get a job in those cases, even if you come from a non
From a
background.
different background.
Yeah.
Okay. One quick question on that is how important are certifications on resume? Is that a thing which on an interview day has to be looked forward by an HR, or if a person doesn't have that kind of certifications, just has some technical background or hands-on experience, would that be good without a certification?
Okay, so certification is not everything. I think education does play an important role, but that does not define you. So having a certification sometimes helps because that way your resume gets shortlisted for the interview. Because what happens is, if whether when you apply for a particular job, specifically in terms of technicalities, when whether it is a technical skill probably, so in those cases having a certification makes the employer shortlist your profile for the interview. So there the certification is important, but after that the selection process, the certification will not have any importance, because they would want to know your knowledge and your practical application on that. So in those two cases your certification will not help. Certification only helps to get your profile shortlisted as a probable candidate for the interview. The
So
interview
if
is
you can just
purely
get your
based on
foot
what you can
in the
do.
door. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't get you. So in
Yeah,
my terms, in just one line, it means that a certification can get you on the your foot on the door. Nothing more than that.
correct, absolutely, yes, that's it.
Okay. Okay. Smriti, I think that's a wonderful conversation we had today. As you know, the time has been run out. So there are a lot of questions which I wanted to get in, but the time doesn't permit that. So just quick rapid fire questions. You can answer them. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure, of course. Let's go.
Yeah. Uh, what is the latest book that you read?
The latest book that I read Often Adult. It's a book about grief, and I was kind of in that place, so I read that book.
Hmm. Which YouTube channels do you follow?
YouTube channel. So I follow YouTube channel Silicon Valley Girl. It's all about entrepreneurship and business. So I just love that channel, and I think I just watch those channels. I don't really get time to watch YouTube apart from that.
Okay. Okay. What is your go-to site for hiring the candidates?
LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the best site to find people, and it gives you a lot more insight than any other job board.
Hmm. Interesting. What is the one movie that you would recommend everyone to watch?
One movie that I would recommend. Okay, I love a lot of movies, but the one that comes to my mind right now is Three Idiots, because it does relay the message of what's wrong with our education system and what we should do.
Okay. Okay. That's it. That's it from my end, Smriti. If you have any other questions for me, I would be happy to answer them.
No, I just hope that whoever is listening to us right now gets some insight, and I know I can be of help to somebody, and they get positive results out of our conversation today. And it was lovely talking to you.
Okay. Before you go, just one big question. Okay. What is one action step that you would tell the audience to do right after watching this podcast?
One action step.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really love that hook step from It's the Time to Disco. So if you can do that, it will be great. It just makes me happy.
Okay. So where can people find you on LinkedIn, on any other social media apart from that?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if anybody wants to connect with me, I'm happy to help. I also help people review their resumes, or, in case they have any question in terms of their career, and, they don't know the answer for that. So I even, speak to people that way is also on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the best place to find me, and I'm very active almost every day on that platform.
Yeah. So people, you heard it from Smriti Jain today that she is active on LinkedIn and to do prepare for your certifications, but it is not everything. So that's all for today. And thank you for connecting, Smriti. We will have a good conversation. We had a good conversation and hope to talk to you soon again.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smriti.